In this tutorial, I want to share my preferred method for organizing my files and setting up Lightroom catalogs. On the screen now, you can see that this is my desktop on my computer. I've cleaned up for you guys. And what I do is I have an external hard drive that I keep all my client work on, and that will be organized into a folder by year, and then I'll have each individual month listed there, and then within the month I will have all the clients with their own folder. In each of those folders I will have the raw files, the Lightroom catalog, and I also have individual Lightroom catalogs for each client. The reason I do this is when I'm shooting, most of my work is shot tethered, and I prefer to use Capture One to shoot tethered because there is a high volume of files, and I find that Capture One is the best way for me to manage those files. So that's how I sort the files. I also have organized a separate external hard drive, and this has all my travel stock on it. So what I've done is I've created a stock archive Lightroom catalog, and in that there is a separate folder that I've created with all my travel, and I've gone and onto all my external hard drives and I've moved all the travel into one spot in one folder, so at any given time I can access 7 or 8 years worth of travel photography in the one spot using the one Lightroom catalog. And that's where I think Lightroom is awesome. It's a big catalog, but it saves me a lot of time having to access those files. So let's have a look at how that all works. So I've opened up the catalog here in Lightroom. So you can see GM stock is the name, and it's in my archive A. And here's the folder, and you can see all the individual folders are listed down the side here in the left hand panel. So at any given time I can click on a folder and I can access all those folders, and if I open it up, and I can find the subfolders with the year that I visited that particular location. So this could work for your own archives. You could have locations that you photographed in and little subfolders to break them down and organize them further. So it's really handy. There's like over 23,000 images and rising as I'm finding new folders. So what's great about organizing the folder in this way is everything is at my fingertips. Now, I've shown you how to import images using from a card, a memory card. You can also add images to your Lightroom catalog from another source, such as it might be somewhere on another hard drive or another location on your computer, and there is a few different ways you can do this. So I'm going to show you that now. So what I want to do is, I know that I have so this is on the external hard drive. I have a couple of folders on my desktop of my computer that I now want to add to this travel archive. There's a couple of different ways you can add images from another hard drive to your Lightroom catalog. So go up to File, Import Photos and Video, and the first thing Lightroom does is it sees my memory card that I still have plugged into, so it's going to see that as a default. So I'm going to go into the left hand panel. This determines the source where I'm going to import from, and I'm going to go into my computer hard drive and find my desktop and locate the folder that I want to import, which is Luca 10, and the images are going to come up there. Now, on the right hand panel, I have the option to tell Lightroom where I want the images to go. And in this instance, I want to put them in on my archive A in the travel archive. So you've always got to be aware of where the images will end up. It's important, otherwise by default, Lightroom will put them in your pictures folder. All right, and now there are a few options when it comes to importing images from another source into your Lightroom catalog. So I've got these options up here. If I click on them, they'll be highlighted. The first one is copy, which means it copies the photos to a new location and adds them to the catalog. So what that does is it will take the images from the desktop and copy them across to the new location and add them to the catalog. Now, new location, I need to tell Lightroom what that new location is, which I've already done. So it's going to copy these onto my external hard drive. The other thing I need to, which helps organize these images, is that I can organize them into a folder, and I've got a choice of by date or by original folders. In this instance, I want to put them all into one subfolder, and I'm going to give it the name Luca 10. All right, and so otherwise, if I don't do that, it's just going to import the images as on their own, not in a folder, just generally in that folder, and it's not going to help keep everything nice and organized. So once I've checked all of that, I can go ahead and import. All right, there the images are, and there they are. If I look down my travel, there is the new folder with the new images. And if I now open up my desktop, I can see that on my desktop, Luca, the images are still there. So I've actually kept them on the desktop, and I've also copied them across into my archive A, and they're now in the travel archive. All right, the other way, I've got another folder that I will now import. And from the same location, off my desktop, and it's LA16. All right, so I've got those images selected. I'm going to tell Lightroom that I want them in the travel section of GM Stock Archive. Now remember, whatever you last did, Lightroom will remember. So currently I've got into a subfolder Luca 10. So if I don't tell Lightroom otherwise, they're going to go straight into that folder that I just imported. So I want them to go into a different folder, which is LA16, and that makes sure, and if I want to make sure that the right thing is happening, I can check down here, and in that ghosted, there's a preview there. Lightroom is telling me that it has created that folder, and that's where they'll be going. So now I can also I'm going to do this in a different way. So the first way was copy Move means I move the photos to a new location and add them to the catalogue. So that means that they're going to be taken off my desktop and moved to this new location. So let's go ahead and do this and see what happens. So they're coming in now. We can see the folder's been created. And once all the images are in, all right, there they all are. In the travel on Archive A, LA16. If I now come back to my desktop and I look in LA16, no images, because Lightroom has taken them out of that folder and moved them into the new travel archive. The third way that you can add images to your Lightroom catalog is, and let me just get a new import going. All right, so again, I'm going to go to my hard drive, onto the desktop, and I have Folio 2017. So there are all the images there. And I can now choose to add photos to the catalogue without moving them. And so if I go ahead and do that, what it's going to do is Lightroom will read each of the files, make a preview, take the metadata from each of the images, and add all of that information into the Lightroom catalog, but the physical files will stay in the original location. So when we use this add method of adding images to the Lightroom catalog, you see that you don't get the option of choosing where they will go because they will stay in the original location. The last way I want to show you that you can add images to your Lightroom catalog is really cool, and particularly if you've been working with Lightroom for a few years and you have Lightroom catalogs galore and you now want to combine all your images into one Lightroom catalog, but you don't want to lose all the hard work you've put into your files over the years in Lightroom. You can actually import another Lightroom catalog into your existing Lightroom catalog, and it will merge the catalogs and save all that information for you. So I've got my super travel Lightroom catalog here, and I have one other catalog located on another hard drive that I want to add into this existing catalog, but I want to keep the original Lightroom catalog that I created for it and merge the two so I don't lose all that work that I've already done on the existing file. So if I go into Lightroom here and I go File, not import photos and videos, but one down, import from another catalog. All right, and I'm going to find it here, 2017, July, travel, Caribbean. If I select that Lightroom catalog and select choose, it's now going to import that catalog, and now I get a dialog box that comes in. Do I want to import all the folders? Yes, I do, because I've got all the different folders that I've created in that particular catalog, and file handling to copy new photos to a new location and import. And now I can choose where I want those images to go. And I want them to go to my archive A into my travel archive. That's where I want them to go. Choose. And now go ahead and import. And now the images have all copied across, and there's the folder there. It's been given a name 2017, and here are all the little subfolders with all the other images in there. So now all I need to do is right click on the folder and I can rename it. Hit save. And there it is. And the great thing about this is I can go into any of the images, and if I go into the develop module, you can see that all my settings from the previous catalog have been saved. And you can see there in the history all the steps. There's the before, there's the after, and all my images that I've worked on, all the work that I've done on these has been also copied over into my travel archive, which is fantastic. So that's a great way to organize your Lightroom catalogs if you just want to merge and create one big super catalog and get all the other smaller Lightroom catalogs into one spot, and also save all the hard work you've done in the past without having to redo it all again.